That's another one in the books, guys. Pretty good little bunch of logs. Trailer's hooked up. Let's go get a dozer. Frosty morning here on the job site. These guys think they're getting fed. There is nothing on the back of that truck but chainsaws and disappointment. So, we should, Dad and I were talking this morning at coffee, we should finish by about noon today. Now, here's my plan for the day. Although my plans rarely go as planned, I'm still gonna let you guys in on my plan. When we get finished up here, I'm gonna hook up to the pintle hitch and take it home. We're gonna load up the dozer tonight, and we'll bring the dozer over here tomorrow. Tomorrow we're gonna get out some trees in the swampy area with the dozer, and the rest of them I think we can get out with the 440 on that job from last Thursday. The next question is, since there are so many knowledgeable people on this channel that follow, I want to put a winch on that dozer. Who can direct me to where I need to go to do that? I'm not sure what all that will require. I know talking to a friend of mine, the third spool, it's probably going to require that. Of course, the winch, the arch apparatus, which I don't think that'll be a big deal because Brandon can build that. We've already talked about that. But I want to get a winch on that dozer. Let's see if we can get these guys out of here. These are some of those trees that were hung up. We bucked them to lengths to pack them out of the woods. And even sometimes when you cut them to lengths, it's nearly impossible to try to weasel your way in and out of the timber. There's a lot of back and forth action, trying to find the best route so you don't get your logs hung on anything, and at the same time you don't want to scar up any trees. Taking the skid steers in the timber is definitely not my favorite thing to do, but sometimes it's what's got to be done to keep working. We'll go ahead and take these to the log deck. Dad's working up the others. I was going to come over here with Dad when I was letting the skid steer warm up. I was going to ride over here with him and get these things worked up in a way I could just pack them out later. But when Dad gets to work, Dad's ready to work. I jumped out my truck to start the skid steer, and he was sitting there, and all of a sudden he's headed over here, so there ain't much waiting around. Ground's not really frozen up, but it's kind of got a good crust on it to where it makes tracking around pretty nice this morning. never a problem, never a complaint, should I say. So we'll have to come back and grab that one there by itself. We'll pack it up here. We still got 3 more up here. Dad's cutting those tubes. We just come by, kick it into high gear. Ask quite a bit out of these little skid steers. But, that's a pretty good pack of logs right there. There's 2 of them tree lengths. That's really as much as what we would drag in our grapple skidder at one time. Now, Dad drove on down the creek. He's going down there to make sure we didn't miss anything. While he did that, I went ahead and bucked what we got out this morning. Thing bucked to length, ready to lay in the deck there. Cleaning up logs. I know I talk about this a lot, but this right here is such a prime example. This thing was ugly. I mean, it was really, really ugly. This is, a lot of people would leave something like this laying just in the field or in the brush in the treetop, but what we did, of course, I come in here, this thing, I cut it out of the top. It was part of this big tree here, and I cut it out of the top, out of one of the limbs, and we've really done a lot of trimming on this thing here, as you can see. Watch me smash my finger here in a minute. Yeah, just big gnarly chunks coming off of it, but by the time you get it cleaned up and rounded up, and I really need to trim that little ear off there, you've got a pretty decent little lumber log there. Now, it's no big money thing, and it's not going to make or break the job, but anytime I see something like that I can bring out, I try to bring it out, because at the end of the pile, at the end of the job, you've got a lot of extra footage there when you add it all up, and that footage turns into dollars. It may not be a lot of dollars, but that's still dollars. That's dollars to my landowner, and that's dollars to myself. And just like cleanup here on these, even these big pasture trees here, this thing was pretty ugly too. And it's not a specimen of beauty by any means, but I really like these big trees. I like the footage in them. Again, they're never the big money logs, the big money trees, but as long as they've got some size, they can have some knots like this. And as long as you can come through here and clean them up, try to round these logs, make them look good, they'll put them in a decent pricing bracket just for the size. So it's a lot of extra work going through here and rounding your logs and cleaning them up, and it never fails. You go through and round them up, and you get to moving around with the skid steer and get them laid in there, and you can go back through and you can round them again. I mean, you can work and work and work on a pile of logs to try to get them looking good. And we do. We spend a lot of time on our log deck, which is why we've always do a pretty good layout, a lot of spacing between the logs. You can walk through, see everything real good and clear. I can go back through, I can round and shape them up how I want them to look. It's all about presentation with anything. That's everything. It doesn't matter, logs, trucks, equipment. When you go to buy or sell something, it's all about presentation. And, you know, if you've got an ornery looking set of logs that you just drag out here with knots and limbs all over them, I mean, man, they're not going to do very good. I wouldn't want to put a lot of money in them. But when you get them out here and you get to cleaning them up, putting the old lipstick on a pig, it's more or less what you're kind of doing. You've got a good looking set of logs. And it shines. It all trickles down. It all comes back. It's a pretty good layout. Hopefully Dad finds a few more and we can add a little bit more footage to this pile, because these logs really, they're bigger than they look. I was telling Dad that this morning. You know, I thought this was just going to be a kind of run-of-the-mill, just an average job of walnut, but you get to going through here and looking at some of the size of these logs, even the second cuts. They've got some size. There's going to be a lot of footage here, a lot more than a person thinks, a lot more than I think. I'm gonna, once I get them all laid in there, I'm gonna kind of put my figures down on paper and kind of see what I come up with. I'm pretty anxious to see, but it's going to be a good bunch. Try to get a few of these laid in here, clean the deck up. guys, if you like what you see, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel for all of our latest videos.